sparkling Aaron George ton seals record chase, powers India into U19 WC final. On a batting beauty, at the Harare Sports Club, India's assembly line of batting talent was out in full splendor in the Under-19 World Cup semifinal. There were two centurions in a statement innings from Afghanistan, but Uzerullah Niazai and Faisal Shinozada's knocks, glorious as they were rendered footnotes by a superb century from Aaron George, who led India's record chase of 3-1 with the kind of composure that belied his low scores from earlier in the tournament. George hit 115 off 104, ably supported by half-centuries from Vaibhav Souryavanshi and Ayush Maitre, as India recorded the highest ever chase in U19 World Cup history. A sixth straight final beckoned, and with it a Friday date with England for the title, a repeat of the 2022 final, history rhyming, if not quite repeating. There was something quietly poetic about George's century, about this particular redemption. Here was a batter who had managed a best of just 23 runs, leading up to this knockout game, existing in the shadows while all around him teammates made the right noises and brandished snazzy IPL contracts. But the selector stuck with him. And on this day, under the Harare sun, George repaid that faith with interest, 15 fours, 2 sixes, batting on until only 11 runs were required. The chase in the end was polished off with 53 balls to spare the margin of victory, rendering Afghanistan's brilliance a beautiful but ultimately futile exercise. Afghanistan had a couple of clear chances in the second innings. Vaibhav Souryavanshi was put down in the 5th over, and George was reprieved when a dolly was put down by Wahidullah Zadran at mid-on. The drops proved very costly as India's openers plundered 90 and 9. 3 overs before Souryavanshi fell to a short ball from Nuristani Omarzai for a 33-ball 68. Ayush Maitre walked out with a bunch of low scores under his belt and opted to deal in either boundaries or dots for the first 12 balls before he hunkered down to build a 114-run stand with George. George, at the other end, was barely troubled by spin or pace. A highlight of his innings was his ability to punch the ball on the up with a high elbow. There was also a delectable inside-out shot over extra cover to a ball headed down leg side. George got to his century with a flick past mid-on for 4, bringing the Indian dressing room to its collective feet. He hit 2 more boundaries in the next over before cutting Zadran to backward point in the 40th over. Vihan Malhotra stayed unbeaten on 38 to take India home by 7 wickets. Earlier in the day, Afghanistan, having won the toss, did well to push India into chasing a record total. Shinozada and Niazai played central roles in the highest score against India in youth ODIs. But the foundation for the same was laid by openers Khalid Ahmadzai and Osman Sadat, who put together a steady 53-run partnership. Ahmadzai looked assured during his 31 off 39 balls before Deepesh Devendran broke through. Sadat continued the good work with a composed 39 from 70 deliveries, but his dismissal by Kanish Kuhan left Afghanistan at 119 for 2 at the halfway stage, needing acceleration. What followed was a batting exhibition that will have been remembered for a lot longer had the second innings not happened. Shinozada tore into the Indian attack with a magnificent 110 from just 93 balls. He reached his century in 86 deliveries and celebrated with Cristiano Ronaldo's iconic CU celebration, his second consecutive 100 in the tournament, showcasing his remarkable form and temperament on the big stage. But Shinozada wasn't alone in the glory. Niazai played the perfect partner, remaining unbeaten on 101 from 86 balls. The pair stitched together a match-defining stand that not only revived the innings, but propelled Afghanistan well past the 300 mark. Niazai's maiden tournament century came in dramatic fashion, brought up with a pull shot while scampering for a sharp second run. The late flourish saw Afghanistan plunder 111 runs in the final 10 overs of the game. But as it turned out, the slow burn approach to the innings proved counterproductive against the latest bunch of India's batting talents. Brief scores: Afghanistan 304 in 50 overs, Faisal Shinozada 110, Uzerullah Niazai 101, Kanish Kuhan 255, lost to India, Aaron George 115, Vaibhav Souryavanshi 68, Ayush Maitre 62 by 7 wickets.